Neil Angel, investment advisor with Gradient Investments here in Greenville, South Carolina, serving clients in North and South Carolina. I specialize in working with baby boomers, in particular helping them to increase their income in retirement as well as preserve their assets and ensure a lifetime income. I'm using this as an electronic version of a fireside chat, if you will, to address issues and concerns that are unique to baby boomers. So let me guess, 2006, 2007, you were opening your account statements and felt pretty good about things. You were probably seeing returns somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20% a year, depending on your allocation. And you had just about caught up or had caught up from the last market downturn between 2000 and 2002 when returns fell some 50% in some cases. So things were moving pretty smoothly, and then September of 2008 rolled along, and all of a sudden your account statements started showing declines, only to pick up pace in November with one announcement after another of corporate bankruptcy. Finally, the market entered into a full-scale rout, ending only in March of 2009, when the Dow fell between a high of about 14,000 and some change in April of 2008 to just over 5,500 in March. Well, things have returned somewhat since that time, but needless to say, you were in a panic. So you probably called your advisor and you probably asked him what you should do, and if he bothered to return your call, his advice went something like this: "Don't worry, Mr. Jones, this has happened before, it will happen again. Just hang in there, don't do anything, and the market will recover." Well, what's wrong with that picture? The market always has recovered, even after the Great Depression in the 1930s. The market has recovered and done fine over long periods of time. But that's not the same thing as to say that you will recover. You see, if you are a baby boomer and nearing retirement or even beginning your retirement and taking income, the stakes have changed for you forever. The magic of compounding that worked so well for you during your younger years when you were saving, what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world, can now actually begin to be your worst enemy during your income years. Let me illustrate what I'm talking about.
Let's start with an example. We're going to go back a few years in time to look at the S&P 500 index for a couple of periods in order to compare the potential impact on your savings and income. I need to mention by way of disclaimer that the S&P 500 is not an investment fund as such. It is simply an index trademarked by the McGraw-Hill Corporation that is generally accepted as the best indicator of market behavior overall. Unless you had invested 100% of your savings in a fund whose returns are indexed to the S&P, your returns would have been better or worse than these depending on your asset allocation. You're going to start with $100 in your account balance, and each year you're going to take $5 out as income, or about 5% of your account balance. And you're going to increase that each year by about 3% to keep pace with inflation. So looking at the years 2003 through 2007, notice what happened. 2003 was a particularly good year. The market was up over 26%, and after your $5, you ended up with an account balance of $120. And over the next several years, you continue taking out money, but notice that your account balance has actually grown. Volatility is not a bad thing during growing markets. We don't usually worry about volatility during these times. But notice what happens when the market begins declining. This example actually comes from the period of 2000 through 2004. Notice what happened here. You started out taking the same amount of money, but after the end of year one, your account balance is down to just $85. And by the end of year three, even though you've been taking out the same amount of money as in the first example, your account balance is less than half of where you started. And even though years 4 and 5 saw positive returns, very positive returns as a matter of fact, There's no recovering from this scenario.
You see, it's not the likelihood of an event happening that has changed for you in retirement. As a matter of fact, the stock market in general will see a decline about 1 out of every 3 years. So you'll have 2 good years and then 1 bad year. And we're pretty much on track. As a matter of fact, we've seen 2 bear markets in the last 7 years. But what has changed is the consequence of an event happening for you as a retiree or a new retiree. And that's the thing that most advisors don't talk with you about. They'll talk with you about risk over a long period of time, and that over a long period of time you'll do well. But again, the game has changed for you.
It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. For the first time